Hey, Anthony Tilley here, and welcome to episode 13 of the Solopreneur Show.
Welcome to the Solopreneur Show with your host, Anthony Tilley. To get your hands on more great business training and advice, plus the chance to join our free Facebook group where you will see extended guest interviews, the opportunity of free one-to-one coaching, and behind-the-scenes access to Anthony, go to www.thesolopreneurshow.com and join us today. And here's your host, the man himself, Mr. Anthony Tilley.
Hey, Anthony here, and episode 13, it's Thursday, and wow, I just got an awesome interview for you today. I really am so excited to share this with you. I interviewed Mr. Craig Ballantyne of authoritative.com a couple of weeks ago, and in fact, I brought him forward from the date that he was meant to be because I just desperate for you guys to see this interview. Craig is an awesome guy and really very knowledgeable, huge amount of contacts within the industry, and I know you are gonna love this interview. Now, as ever though, this is just 20 minutes, and I know at the 20-minute mark, you're going to be blown away and you're going to want to get yourself inside of the group. Solopreneurshow.com. This interview, the full interview, is in there right now. Okay, so if you just go to solopreneurshow.com now, enter your details, request to join the group, I'll get you inside of there and you can see the whole thing. You can see the full interview because this interview is absolutely top class. Love doing it. And so excited to share it with you. So I think without further ado, just roll VT, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm joined today by a great gentleman who I was introduced to recently, and he's been kind enough to come onto the show. And he is the author of The Perfect Day, How to Own and Control Your Life. And he's also the editor of the awesome earlytorise.com. It's Mr. Craig Ballantyne. Hiya, Craig. How you doing?
Very, very good. Thank you so much.
It's a real treat to have you on the show today, Craig. So, as I said before, but I want to say it officially on camera, thank you so much for joining us. It's a fledgling show, and for you to be on it is a real treat.
Oh, it's always great to be on any show, and we're going to have a great conversation today and really show people how to, as you said, own their days and really dominate those days, especially as we get ready to get into a new start.
Yeah, it's a great time actually to do this because this interview is going to be going out pretty much in the first week of January, so that's a really good time. The New Year's resolutions are still warm and they can be added to.
Absolutely.
What I really like to do on the show, Craig, is a lot of people, we see well-known people, we see people who are doing well in their life, whether it be with their health, with their wealth, with their family, etc. And there's always that, yes, it's okay for them, but etc. But we've all had struggles and issues to overcome, and I know we're going to talk about sort of some of those based around the book and about your own personal experiences overcoming anxiety, etc. But what I'd really like you to do, if you could just sort of give us, your journey, to use a reality TV phrase, to share with people, where you've come from and how you got there, where you are now.
Right, and so I'm actually have come full circle because today where I am right now is where I grew up, and I grew up on a farm near Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and it was there that I developed a love for ice hockey. And so I went to college with the idea that I was going to become a strength and conditioning coach in the National Hockey League. And so I went and I started getting this degree in exercise physiology, and I stumbled across the opportunity to write for Men's Health magazine in 2000, which is a very, very big magazine. They have the Men's Health UK, they have versions all throughout the world. And so I started writing for them over 16 years ago now. And it was through that I started, switched from the athlete to the busy guy, and I built a program called Turbulence Training in 2001. And we continue to sell that today. And we sold it to, probably over 100,000 people around the world. It's really cool. We've had transformation contests and all these great things. And then in about 2006, it was a very pivotal year for me. I hired a business coach. I had anxiety attacks. And I also set about on a course to moving towards the business that I own today, which is called Early to Rise, which I bought in 2011. And it helps people build not only their health, but also their wealth. And then I put together a whole bunch of systems that allowed me to become successful. And I just released a book that we can talk about today called The Perfect Day Formula, which we started selling in late 2015. And we sold over 10,000 copies and helped a whole bunch of people. And we have all these coaching programs around it. And it really helps people dominate their days and become really, really successful and achieve those extraordinary results in every aspect of life.
Okay, no, that's excellent. Thanks for giving us that little sort of bio there, etc. It's actually it's interesting. I didn't share this with you beforehand. Okay, but as of about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we've only sort of spoken obviously in the last week or so, but I hadn't heard of you. Okay, so I do apologise first and foremost.
No worries.
But mega impressed with having seen the site. But here's the interesting thing. And this is something you talk about in the book, later on in the book, but I really wanted to just sort of start on it. You talk about relationships and masterminds and getting out there and getting social. Okay, I'd like to share something a little bit strange with you, okay, a little bit spooky, as we say here in the UK, all right? I was at the office of a good friend of mine who is a JV and launch manager a few weeks ago. And I was going to be going to Vegas the following week, and I said, "Have you got any good books I can read?" So I had a little look. And he said, "Yeah, have a look. Check this book out." And it's this.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So I'm reading this book. I get to page 72. And on page 72, Michael Masterson talks about earlytorise.com. So I go to earlytorise.com and I check it out. And I think, wow, this is an awesome site. This is really, really cool what this guy is sharing, what he's going through.
Oh, wow.
About 10 days ago, I was with Igor Kaifetz. We were in Manchester at an event he was speaking at. Igor and I have been friends for a number of years, so I sort of went up to see him and Anastasia. And as we were talking about the podcasts, he said, "Do you know who you should get on as a guest?" He said, "Awesome guest." He said, "Craig Ballantyne." I said, "earlytorise.com." And he said, "Absolutely." And I thought, that in the end, he connected the two of us, and here we are. And I thought, that's a real illustration of the power of meeting people, of having conversations, and of educating yourself. Now, I went to a friend who's a marketer, got the book, awesome book, and here we go, the steps. So real proof that what you put in your book about, going out there and getting social and meeting people is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I met Igor by speaking at an event called Underground. And so I spoke at that this year. And Underground was the first major event that I went to back in 2007. And I joined Yannick Silver's mastermind group. And that's where a lot of my success formulas and the people that I've met over the years, the really influential people, came out of me going to that first event. And so I don't know, what you are like personally in social settings, but I'm really more of a reserved, introverted person. And so it was hard for me to go to some of those events at first. But it is all a learnable skill. Almost everything in life is. And so I was able to get better at, networking, connecting, building those relationships. And so if anybody's, hesitant to do that, you just have to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone, because it is so valuable, not only for business, but for personal relationships, for friendships. Now I count basically 3 of my 4 best friends are all business related friendships that I've met since about 2008. And they're like brothers to me.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely said. There's a big difference between, chatting as we are here, and obviously, we're sort of building a relationship, etc. And, and who knows where that can go, but actually going there, and pressing the flesh, and having a beer with somebody, it's a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I look at what I do on a regular basis now is every summer I go and I speak at an event in Lithuania. Next year will be our 8th year of doing it. And, I met one of the guys who organized the event through Yannick Silver, and through him I met the other organizer of the event. And now every year we go over, and last year we did a pre-event in London. So maybe we'll do that again this year. Maybe we'll get a chance to meet in person.
That would be awesome. No, that would be absolutely superb. So looking forward to that. Okay, I'll put that in my diary as soon as you give me the date. Okay, so obviously you said, you're from Canada, beautiful country, and you've got, I know you did your degree, etc. You wanted to be the strength and conditioning coach. Ironically, my eldest son, that actually was what he wanted to do at around sort of age 16, 17. Tore the cartilage off his knee when he was doing pre-season training, rugby training, and he just sort of, the momentum just sort of was lost. He's now actually at a university doing a games design and creative writing degree, so which is turned out to be far more him. So you've done that. You're the expert in terms of health and wellness and health magazine, etc. But obviously, all part of that, part of getting fit and becoming healthy, there's a huge amount of discipline is required, and that, of course, as you've covered here in the Perfect Day, it's very transferable, isn't it? But it's all about having those, those rules in place. And you talk a lot actually about the rules. I wonder if you can just sort of, talk to us about that and about the need for really sticking to the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll bring some people back before we scare them away with the word discipline. And so what we actually talk about in the book are systems and these structures that replace rules and replace discipline and willpower, because we all know that we have a limited amount of willpower and discipline. And you and I are talking over the holiday season, so we all know that we're going to be coming up against people, shoving drinks in our face and Christmas pies and all these great things. And there's going to be so much temptation around us. And what I do in the book, not only for health, but also for wealth building and also for time management and personal productivity, is I help people build the systems that they put in place to overcome the need for sheer discipline and willpower. And so one of those systems is having rules for your life. And now anybody thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want any more rules. This sounds terrible. Just hear me out for 1 second, because most people, the rules in their life are imposed upon us by other people. And so we don't like the rules of, if you have a regular job, you don't like the rules that your boss puts on you. You have to be here at this time. You have to be in your desk and at work at 8:30 and not a minute late. And that rule from outside, we won't, we're all rebellious. We all want to rebel against those rules. But if we impose our own rules upon ourselves, it's like giving yourself an operating system. And I like to use the analogy of an iPhone, or, the computer I have in front of me is a MacBook of some kind, and it has a powerful operating system. And if you have a powerful operating system for your own life, it means you're going to be really efficient and really effective. And that way you're going to get more done, make more money, have a bigger impact, improve your health, whatever it is you want to do with rules in place. And so one last analogy is everyone listening to this has stop signs and red lights in their hometown. Because without the rules of the road, you wouldn't get to where you wanted to get to safely. It'd be utter chaos out there. And the author Paulo Coelho, in the book, not in the book The Alchemist, but he's the author of the book The Alchemist, he has a really great quote that I stumbled across somewhere. And he says, discipline and freedom are not mutually exclusive, but mutually dependent, because without discipline, you'd sink into chaos. And I had that happen to me personally with the anxiety attacks that we can talk about in the book, or in a bit, but in the book that I talk about putting in the rules in place, it's like having the rules of the road for you. And so I tell people to have a rule for their health, for their wealth building, what they should do first thing in the morning, a rule about their bedtime and wake up time. It's really important. And then a rule that most people never think about is a not to do rule, because we all have that one temptation, which is bigger than most, the distraction, the vice, the obstacle that gets in the way of our success. It might be email, it might be alcohol, it might be something worse than that. But we need to identify it and then build a fence around ourselves to protect ourselves. So we're building these new rituals and routines that, again, don't require a lot of discipline and willpower, because they're rituals and routines and habits, and essentially they're automatic actions that prevent us from doing the one bad thing that can get us into so much trouble. So those are the 5 rules that I like to help people build at first. Again, one for their health, one for their, number one wealth building activity. What do I do every day to build my wealth? If you're a salesperson, you might have a rule that says I do 5 sales calls in a day. A rule about the number one thing they do for 15 minutes first thing in the morning. And so I tell people to give me 1% of your day, which is 15 minutes, and focus on your number one priority in life first thing. And if you can do that, you're going to make progress. You can even write a book in 10 weeks, 15 minutes at a time. If you can do 500 words in 15 minutes over the course of the week, that's 3,000 words. In 10 weeks, that's 30,000 words. And that's a small book, a little bit smaller than my Perfect Day Formula book. And then you should also have a rule about the bedtime, as I mentioned, because that'll give you all day energy. And then also that not to do rule. So those are the 5 rules. And you put those in place, it makes the actions automatic, reduces the amount of willpower required on you to make the right decisions, and you actually have less stress and more success because of it.
Absolutely. It's interesting the when you talk sort of in the book, you're saying you've just touched on there about the getting up earlier, and it's interesting. I think so many people, they set their alarm in the morning when they go into work. They set their alarm based on how long it takes them to get washed, dressed, breakfast, and then get to work. Mm-hmm. They don't tend to think, and I'll hold my hands up. When I used to work for a living, I had the same thing. I would lie in bed for as long a period as I possibly could.
How long, right? Yeah, how long could you possibly stay there?
5 minutes for this, 2 minutes for that, 3 minutes for that. Boom, I'm out the door and I'm away. But yeah, as you say, by extra 15 minutes or 30 minutes if you can do it. But as you say in your book, you put extra 15 minutes. There's a lot you can do in that time, and it's about being proactive, isn't it, rather than reactive?
Absolutely, and it's funny that you say that because I just made a video, put it up on our YouTube channel. There's 2 types of people in the world: proactive people who are successful and reactive people who struggle. So reactive people, this is the way I used to be. You wake up, check your email, you hit the snooze button. You're late for breakfast, you're in traffic because you're late, and so you're late for work, or you slide in right at the last minute, and then you check your work email, and then you check your phone messages, and you haven't got a single thing accomplished by the end of the day, even though you were really busy. And so that's a reactive approach to life, and it's only going to get you average results. And in this day and age, average is just way, way down. It's below average these days. But being proactive, you just plan things out, you plan your day, and away you go. And so, there's a big movement these days towards, getting up at the crazy hour of 5 o'clock in the morning. And I don't think that's right for most people. But if you can give yourself 15 minutes, you can really make a big difference. You can write that book. Or as I did back in 2003, you can go from struggling personal trainer to building a successful online business 15 minutes at a time, because I was getting up very early in the morning. I had a client at 6 o'clock, so I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning so I could spend 15 to 20 minutes working in my online business and then take the bus downtown Toronto and train my clients. But it was because I was so motivated. I really wanted to change my life. I really wanted to build my own successful business. And like you, I didn't want to work for a living anymore. I wanted to beat the game and then get out of the rat race. And I did 15 minutes at a time. And so that's how powerful it can be. And now you mentioned setting an alarm for the morning. Now here's the trick that most people don't realize, that you should actually set an alarm at night. So you set an alarm an hour before you want to go to bed. It's a reminder that, okay, now it's time to wind down. No more electronics, no more email. No more this, that, or the other thing. It's only, maybe preparing your lunch, maybe reading a book, maybe having a hot bath, maybe, having the conversation with your wife, maybe reading the book to the kids. And then that way it's like, okay, now I'm winding down into being able to fall asleep at 10 o'clock instead of, it's 10:05. I should probably stop watching Game of Thrones right now. Oh, but maybe one more show. Right? And the next thing you know, it's 11:30 and they're in reactive mode the next morning. But if you have that alarm an hour before bed, it's a reminder to stop watching Game of Thrones and start that wind down time. So it's a little trick to add into somebody's schedule that allows them to get ahead of the game the next day.
Yeah. No, it's funny you should say that, actually, because that's something, I've got a 14-year-old son. I've got a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old. Say that the 20-year-old's not here. He's off living the life up in London. But the 15-year-old, don't even know how old my own son is. That's not good, is it? The 15-year-old, we've set this rule now that, 9 o'clock, iPad, phones off.
Right.
Because in the mornings I say to him, you're right, how did you sleep? Oh, it took me ages to get to sleep. because the mind is wearing, the light on the screen, it sets you up. So that's a really great tip.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, I'm really big into reading these sleep research studies and all this stuff, and there is good evidence that teenagers need to sleep later, they need to sleep longer, and I don't know what your son's class hours are, but they keep on moving the hours of school earlier and earlier and earlier. So some schools are starting at 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's really not set up for them to do that well. So it's not surprising that the youngster, even if he gets a good night's sleep, is still struggling in the morning. But sleep is something that is very important. It's very powerful. And in terms of us as adults, what I really recommend to people is don't hit that snooze button in the morning, because what we do as humans, we operate in these 90-minute sleep cycles. And if you wake yourself up in the middle, or if you go back to sleep and then wake yourself up with the snooze button while you're getting into a sleep cycle, you feel even groggier than if you had gotten up when the alarm went off in the first place, or before your alarm. If you wake up 15 minutes before your alarm is going to go off, you're actually best to get up and not try and go back to sleep, because you don't want to get into the sleep cycle and then you wake up kind of, hungover almost from the sleep cycle.
Yeah. I've lost count probably the number of times over the years. I've woken up about sort of 5 o'clock, and you look over the clock and you think, I'm just going to go back to sleep. And then you wake up at 7, you're like, hang on a minute, I've had 2 hours more sleep and I feel crap. I feel far more tired than I did at 5 o'clock. So I'll get up when I wake up. When the dog wakes up.
One more thing to add about that, again, every time you mention 5 o'clock, it makes me think of this 5 a.m. club, which is really popular in America. It's just the time of day that people are getting up. And again, it is not right for most people, and so I don't recommend it, because what I say to people is it's not the hour that you get up, it's what you do with the hours that you are up. Yeah. And so I have friends who are night owls, because 20% of the population is chronologically a night owl. It means they are best suited to operate later in the day. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good idea to try and switch that person to an early morning time slot. Now, some people might have to because of work hours, but it's okay if you work in those hours, because again, it is what you do with the hours you are up, and it's being structured. It's putting my system into place. So even though I'm an early morning type of person,
Okay, as ever, we're pulling the curtain down on the interview around about the 20-minute mark. And already I know you're going to be sitting there thinking, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. This is somebody that I really want to listen to. Now, 2 things. You can either get yourself to the solopreneurshow.com and get yourself inside of the Facebook group, or alternatively, you can just stay out in the wasteland and wonder what there is else that Craig has got that is going to change your life for you. So I think we all know what you need to do. You need to be getting yourself to the solopreneurshow.com. And if you are watching the interview at the solopreneurshow.com/Craig Ballantyne, you will also see there is a link underneath where you can get hold of Craig's new book, The Perfect Day. And it's just awesome. He sent it to me before the interview, and I read it like within about sort of 48 hours. Just absolutely brilliant stuff. Really great, just mind focusing things, and helping you just to take control of your life. So if you feel a little bit like, you're sleepwalking through your life, a little bit like stuff is happening around you that you're not actually taking control, then this is a book you definitely need to read. All right, very easy read to say. I read it within 48 hours, just sat down and blocked everybody out, and it's made a big difference to the way that I've been doing things recently as well. So it's helped me tweak things that I was already doing, but just brilliant stuff. So solopreneurshow.com/Craig Ballantyne, and get yourself inside of the group, and you can see the whole of the interview, and also as well, click the link below the video where you will be able to get hold of Craig's free book. All right, so that said, I really hope you have enjoyed the show today. I'm loving doing these. I really am, bringing this stuff to you guys, and also meeting some really amazing people as well. As I said in Monday's Ask Anthony. And if you haven't heard Monday's Ask Anthony, then why not? You need to get yourself to listen to that, because I really share a huge amount about myself, about my own journey, about the reasons for doing the podcast, but also as well, if you've got an offline business or online, doesn't matter. I explain the importance of creating content and actually putting yourself out there and being different from everybody else. But that said, get yourself solopreneurshow.com, get yourself inside of the group, and I will see you again soon. Cheers. Bye now.
To get your hands on more great business training and advice, plus the chance to join our free Facebook group where you will see extended guest interviews, the opportunity of free one-to-one coaching, and behind-the-scenes access to Anthony, go to www.thesolopreneurshow.com and join us today.